All right, Jazz, let's start about that at bat in that sixth inning there. We hit the 2-run homer. Take me through that at bat.
There wasn't much. I think me and Coach Bear kind of had a deal just having me stay calm. And that's kind of like the focus. That was my focus all day today and pretty much all weekend is just staying calm and seeing the ball. And that's exactly what I did. I know we needed a little more insurance, so I could just saw the ball as well as I could today.
How does starting out with 2 straight wins and a doubleheader to start conference play feel?
Oh, it's an amazing feeling, honestly. Being here for 5 years and with this team especially, this is going to be having to start out with these 2 wins is going to be something that we're just going to keep this momentum on our side and just keep riding with it. And I'm excited.
Tell me about the adjustment in that second game, because the first game, their pitcher threw really well. That was a, back and forth there. How big was it, finding a way to win that first game with not your best game offensively? It seemed like it really kind of your offense made adjustments and responded in that second game.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Honestly, it was just like you said, making adjustments. That's all we had to do was just make little adjustments at the plate, and we learned from previous at bats and just keep building a momentum. And that was one of our biggest things, is just making sure we have G's back. They scored 1 off the back, but you know what? That doesn't stop us. We are very well offensively, and we just kept going with it.
Can you kind of talk about Jada's performance? She had the home run to clinch game 1, and she came up with some really great plays in the second. Just kind of talk about her performance today.
Jada's a stud. That's all I can say. That girl, she comes out no matter what. She'll come out and play, and that's exactly what she's about. That first game, me and her just kept talking back and forth, just what I would see, what she would see, because we're in 2 different spots of the lineup. I see the end, she sees the beginning, and that's one thing. We build off each other, and in general, that girl can just play, and I'm so excited, and I can't wait. This was her first conference series, so seeing her show out like that, she left the mark, and she's going to continue leaving an impact on this team.
Aaliyah gave you 8 innings, just 1 run. Gianna goes 7, 1 run. How important was it for those two to go the distance, only give up the 1 run, and kind of buy you some time offensively to get going?
We're big with our pitching staff. They're if one's on, one's off, whatever it is, they were both on today, and they both threw really good games, and they kept us in it, and that's what we kept letting them know. Just keep us in the game. We will come in. We'll score some for you. Just keep working with us, keep being patient with us, do your thing, and we got you, and we got your back, and that's exactly what they did. They did their thing, they played their game, and we came out and just scored and gave them a couple insurance and just kept going with it.
You guys had your season cut short last year right before conference play was about to start. Can you kind of just describe how it felt to be back out there playing conference games again?
Conference is exciting. That's one word I can say for it. So being out there, especially, that was one thing we kind of talked about, a couple of us. This was some of the girls' first conference series, and it's crazy to think, because I'm like, oh, whoa, this is like my 5th one, and it's something different. So seeing them and seeing us, I think conference it's going to be exciting. It's going to get us a little tired, but that's what's going to show us how strong we are mentally and physically, and just continuously pushing through this season, second half of the season.
What is it about that 9 spot? You really excel in that 9 spot anytime whenever coach puts you in that 9 spot. What is it? Is there anything to it?
Honestly, I don't think so. I've gotten really comfortable being in the 9 slot. I've gone from the 4-hole my whole career pretty much here, and then Coach Bear put me in the 9 slot, and she said, you're going to see some. You're going to see pitches. They're going to think of a 9 slot hitter not like they would see you. And I'm not the typical 9 hitter that you guys will be thinking about getting. And she's like, you just need to be patient and you'll find one. And that's exactly what it is. I think just being there, it's just being patient. And the 9 hole, I've gotten pretty comfortable, and I give Coach Bear credit for that one. She got me in there.
Most of your games, you're starting off at first base, but now I've noticed you're starting to play some catcher too. How are you feeling playing that position?
I feel old, if I'm being honest. But you know what? Anything to do to help this team out is exactly what I'm shooting for. First base, I'll play, like you said, I've pretty much been there primarily, but when I go back there to catch, I still try and keep the same energy, the same vocals, try and be that vocal leader on that field, and that's kind of my target and my goal. And just helping these pitchers out, making sure they're motivated and they're continuously going, even though we might not be getting the calls that we want on our side, but just keep pushing through it and just being that vocal leader no matter what.
Take us now the next couple of days. Y'all still got 2 more games in this series. That's going to be the way this year is with a 4-game series. So it's only the beginning, and you know Houston very well. This long rivalry. Just take us the approach here in the next couple of days here is going to be the keys.
Honestly, the biggest thing is just building off this momentum that we just got from these first 2 games. Is just building off of that and finding our groove. That's going to be one of our things. Once we find our groove, once we push on the gas, no one's going to be able to stop us, and I'm excited. So these next 2 games, it's just pushing through it and just fighting the whole way through, playing with the passion and the passion that we have for this game, and just continuously going from here.
Well, congrats on the win. Enjoy it, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much, Elo. Thank you, Jonathan.
Good talking to you there, Jazz.
Bye, guys.
Hey, your first home run was against Houston too, wasn't it?
What, Elo?
Oh, just ask Jazz if her first home run ever was against Houston.
Yeah, I think so. I think my first one ever was against Houston.
Okay, that's what I
If I'm
thought.
not mistaken, I think that was it. And then I still remember the date. What's that date, Elo? Remember we have a date that I've had 2 home runs on the same day or something like that?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to look that up. I'll get back to you on that one.
You know that one. I know you know which I'm talking about because you're the one that told me about it.
That's true. I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you by
All
the
Thanks, guys. We're going to get Jada. We got Jada Cody on here.
All right, Jada. Enjoyed talking to you here after these minutes. Just tell me about that at-bat in that bottom of the 8th in the first game there where you won the game.
I knew the pitcher, what she was throwing since my first 2 at-bats. I knew she was going to give me a changeup in my at-bat, so I was just looking for that pitch because that was her go-to pitch. So I was just looking for that during that at-bat.
You see the inning before Elise comes like inches away from ending the game, and then you just crush it on your second pitch to end it. Did you feel like there was kind of pressure on you to do that? Or?
No, I just knew I just needed to get on base. If I got on base, I knew we were going to score. So that was just what my thought was when I was up to bat, just be aggressive and get on.
You tied the game. You scored the tying run in that first game when Wilson had that big RBI hit. You remember that play there when Wilson scored there when he drove you in that sequence? That was huge because, at that point you were still trying to get that first run on the board.
Yes. Yeah, just for that was like the same thing. Like my thought was just to get on, and the people after me were just gonna move me. So when I start off in the inning, that's just my idea, just to get on, and I know my teammates will move me and score me. So that's just my thing that I've been doing.
In the second game, you really took it up a notch on defense. The one play that stood out to me was, I think, in the 5th inning where you run up towards home plate and throw it to first real quickly. Just how did your defense look in that game? Just take me through that a little bit.
That was like one of the things that we've been practicing a lot, like it's on the run. So we've just been practicing that a lot in practice. So I knew I felt comfortable with doing it. But I was prepared that they play small ball. So I was just prepared that they're gonna give me one of those eventually.
You reminded me that this was your first conference series you've ever played. You didn't get to play one last year. What was it like to be a part of it here for the first time and against a rival like Houston?
I was excited, but I was a little nervous. I was talking to Georgia and Jazmine because this is our first conference in this first conference play in this conference. So we were just excited. At first, like the first couple of innings, I was a little nervous just to like get the feel of conference play. But after that, I felt pretty confident, being that this is my first 2 conference games.
A game like this, and especially such a great individual performance by yourself, do for you moving forward?
Just to keep it rolling, and just move forward from this and use this as like a confident booster to keep moving in for the games coming up.
Shannon there and Jazmine, big home runs. Just talk about what they bring to the table there. Really big home runs in that second game. They get the offense going there with the power game and really clicking.
Yes, we know that Jazz and Shannon have like really good bats and really powerful. So it was just like more momentum on our side when they hit those 2 home runs. So it was really good for that.
And then right after that really great play in the 5th inning, Denali robs basically a triple on the right field. Can you kind of talk about that play and what she means to the team?
We know Denali to track down balls in the outfield, so it was just expected for that. And just like going off of my play to her play, it was just keeping the momentum on our side. We talk about that a lot, just keeping the momentum on our side and using it and like bringing it into our hitting. So we definitely did that well in the first and second game.
All right, you got 2 more games here against the same team here in the next 2 days. Now, what's the approach here in the next couple days?
Just stay to myself. I know that they already been charting for us now that we've already played 2 games. So just to stay within myself and stay to our hitting approach and our defense, just to have a clean defense.
Awesome. Well, good luck. Good luck in those games, Jada, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jada. Good job.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jada.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you guys?
Doing good. Congrats.
Thank you.
Doubleheader there. Welcome to conference play. Welcome to Houston UCF rivalry. Intense, and every pitch matters, and you find a way, you get the 2 wins. Just talk about this overall day, kind of the highs and lows, but getting the 2 wins.
Yeah. Houston is a great team, and they play tough. And I think for us, you saw a little bit of a tighter play for us. I think we finally loosened up after we scored that first run in the first game in the 6th inning. And once that happened, we looked more like ourselves. We have, I would say, more than half of our team hasn't played in an American Conference game. And so for some reason, we made it a little different than just a normal game. But glad to get that under our belt and, get after it and continue to get back to it tomorrow.
You got actually go to your first double or extra inning game of the season, and then you ended on the second pitch. How did that feel, honestly?
Yeah, no, Jada, I went and thanked Jada. I was like, thank you for doing that. It just made it so much easier. Like, we didn't have to think at all, strategy wise. And I think that's something too, when they start to play tight, I even didn't feel myself, because I'm like, well, how do I get them to calm down? And, what do I need to say? And what, maybe I don't say anything. And, I felt like I was even in my own head a little bit. And so I just realized, like they follow me and I need to calm down too. And so Jada doing that with 1 swing, big time.
Well, it helps too. We have Aaliyah going 8 innings, giving up the 1 run, and then Gianna coming back with 7 innings and 1 run. And that's going to be pivotal in a 4-game series to have your starters go deep into games and give you quality starts like they both did.
Oh, it sure is. It sure is. I thought they both got stronger as the game went on too. So that I really like to see that. I think they, got more swings and misses at the end and kept them off balance. And so it gives us good momentum going into tomorrow. And they're seeing how that they can feed off of each other too as well. So like you said, for a 4-game series, that's very important.
Well, going back a little bit, in the 7th of the first game, Elise comes just inches away from ending it early. What was your reaction to that moment?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, off bat, I was like, oh, we've got it. We won. And then here comes, the center fielder just flying in. And wow, she made Aspen Howie made an awesome play. That was, you have to respect it and acknowledge it as like, this is going to be fun. Okay. Like, we're going to have to really earn it. And that's awesome. We want those great games. We need to be in those great games. We need to be in those situations so that we can continue to get better as we go along.
Well, Jada in her debut in conference, she didn't seem too timid there. Obviously, a great doubleheader for her. She hit the walk-off home run and clutch hitting. I mean, going back to the Florida game, she tied the game up with the RBI double. What does that say about her? Here you are in the last 2, winning the game with a walk-off homer after the Florida game and not being fazed by the conference play, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, I loved her, just her maturity and her demeanor, because she did have a little mishap defensively and then base running wise, but to stay calm and not let it affect the rest of her game is huge. And I think that really speaks to the effort she has put in and the hard work she's put in in early outs and things like that. But just to see that maturity, she's essentially still a freshman when it comes to things. And so to see her play like that, I mean, it's exciting, and it's exciting to know that we have an opportunity to have her for 3 more years after that.
Especially in the second game, you got a couple of really huge defensive plays. The one that stood out to me was Denali robbing one of the batters by the right field wall. How do plays like that kind of energize your team?
Yeah, huge. I mean, we just before that, Jada made a play on the run, and then Denali does that. And so I think for G, that was the turning point for G, where she dialed in and got in. They scored some runs for her. Now they're playing defense for her. All right, she's going to do her thing. And that I think was the turning point for us. But, Denali's good for that. I talk about Kira quite a bit out there, but Denali she's right there with Kira. She's a great defensive player. I loved what she did today too, offensively. We got the big hit, and then she just drops the bunt, and catches them off guard. So she comes up big when we need it most.
Big, and of course your bench. You've always talked about you call them the All-American bench, coming through and getting you wins. You look at game 1, Juliana Wilson, you called her number off the bench, ties the game up with the RBI. Katie Birch had a big hit in that 6th inning to set up Esparza with the home run. Depth, which is going to be pivotal in a 4-game series all year, came through for you. That bench helped you win those 2 games.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's not easy for to make those changes. Because Kira Clarkowski has been hitting the ball well, and Jazmine is just such a tough out, always. But just again with the matchups and seeing like how lefties were doing and whatnot, I really kudos to all of them for trusting in that process and continuing to grind through it, and allowing me to use that strategy in that way.
Last year, you guys had your season cut short just before conference play started. How did it feel to get back out there and play conference again for the first time?
It was awesome. I probably should have. I didn't even say anything to them about it. It was just, like, okay, part 2 of season is coming at you. But I realized, in that first game when it was like, why are we so quiet? And why are we singing like this? And it was just like, we were kind of on the defense, and usually I have to tell them like, calm down. So I think that they started to realize, okay, now we're playing our second season. This is big time. We're getting closer to the goal. But again, we just got to keep it simple and do our thing and stay loose and play our game. And but it is fun to be back in conference, and our conference has been doing awesome. So I'm excited. To get back out there tomorrow.
So unique, because you take 2 games in normal years, you would say, wow, that's huge, you just won the series, but that's not the case here. With a 4-game series, this is only the beginning, and they're going to be ready to play the next couple of days. So just take us through the approach here the next 2 days.
Yeah, game 3 is going to be has been tough for us in some of the series that we've had. And I don't want to say like we just kind of settled, but we're still trying to figure out how to continue to grind and make adjustments. And so that was my biggest message to the team tonight was just as the pitchers are going to make adjustments, and their defense and their offense is going to make adjustments against us, we need to be able to counteract that. And we need to do the things that we continue to do the things that we did well and worked, but at the same time make adjustments on the things that we did that were kind of out of character for us. The half swings, the check swings, taking pitches that we normally drive, and then pitching wise, just getting behind in counts, scoring a run and then walking somebody, just things like that we need to continue to make those adjustments as we move through season and through the series.
Now 4 straight wins, 2 of them over ranked teams, and you got your 2 first conference wins. Your team's got to be feeling pretty good about itself, right?
They do, yeah. Yeah, I should probably talk to you guys before I talk to the team, because I think I get so caught up in like, okay, next. And so I have to remember that our biggest rule is to celebrate for 60 minutes after a win. So I did remember to tell them that, but then I was like, okay, now this is what we got to do for tomorrow. But again, like you said, they've been playing awesome these last 4 games, and get it. I'm excited to continue to see them do what they do.